How do you solve the maze when the paths never stop changing? There's no figuring out the coastline of San Antonio Bay. There's only trying, failing, freezing, learning, winning, and trying again.
Nice job, amigo.
The greatest of these,
There he is.
learning. We've arrived at Bay Flats Lodge in Seadrift, Texas. Put on an extra layer, friends. It's winter red fishing, Lone Star style.
Solid Texas redfish.
Oh, he's on it. There it is. Nice.
Any fish is a good fish on a day like this.
The sea rules over both the past and present and defines the destiny of all life on Earth. It surrounds land from every angle, and it takes and gives as it pleases. Throughout the ages, humanity has used the sea for sport and sustenance. It's a deep, dark frontier, and there are untold fathoms left to explore.
My wife just said, don't get canceled today.
I plead the fifth.
Well, it's been a blast.
It's like, I got plenty of opinions, let me tell you about them.
Fifth.
Okay, big clap.
You guys joking or? Okay.
Look at me for one more second.
Where do I start?
Bays and flats, oyster reefs and mud bottoms, tidal pools and crooked cricks. And life, boy oh boy, the life.
The Texas coast, it's a really special place. The fishing here, I mean, that's the first major draw for me. I think just the amount of shots and the amount of fish and the amount of life that you have access to on a daily basis here is pretty unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot of great fisheries in the world, but this one in particular has captivated me. Just the amount of wildlife, the amount of open space, the different options, the stuff you can explore, and without having to run into anybody. I just think it's really special.
3 hours from Houston and 1 hour from Corpus Christi, Seadrift sits on the front stoop of San Antonio Bay in southeast Texas. It's a sportsman's paradise on stilts, tucked behind the Matagorda Island. Our home for the week, Bay Flats Lodge, which is equipped with comfy accommodations, homespun hospitality, and skilled fly guides. San Antonio Bay is a very healthy ecosystem with ample bait and boundless opportunities for one sought-after game fish.
Everyone says, like, if they could jump, they'd be the perfect species. They're pretty readily available. You can go out and just have crazy days. Some of these eats that they do, you know, it's also visual. We get a lot of targets at redfish, and then there's so many times you're just like, oh my God, like, did you see that? Their behavior, you know, tailing and crawling and being in pods, it's all so cool to see.
In Texas, the star may be lone, but the redfish are not. They're piled up together in deeper water, waiting for an inch of sun to entice them to the surface to feed.
Starter, break the ice. See you later, bud.
Before we go forward, Let's go back to last autumn. Redfish are targeted year-round and all around, from the Florida warmth to the coastal Bend cold. Found from Long Island to Florida to Louisiana to Texas, redfish are bronze beasts and gold star game fish. Flies, live bait, spoons, topwaters, cigarette butts, shotgun shells. A hungry bull will eat them all.
The summertime or even fall, there's times where they will literally eat absolutely anything, and those are the ideal days. You know, when you come across a pot of fish that are just crushing bait down a shoreline, it's awesome. You throw whatever fly, you can throw anything you want inside the thing, it's probably gonna eat it.
Oh, that's a better fish.
Yeah, no, they're getting bigger through the day though, so keep going.
Florida's Space Coast, which includes the Indian River Lagoon, fall red fishing means reliable populations that traverse its rivers, inlets, and coastal waters under a forgiving October sky. But now it's 3 months later, and we're 1,200 miles due west. Winter isn't coming, it's here.
Fishing with conditions, you know, every day is different, and that's kind of cool too. You're never going out there and seeing the same thing. And some of those rough days, they make the good ones really good.
I think that one of the major factors on the Gulf Coast in general is just the weather. The fish here are pretty cooperative and pretty amiable targets, but the wind and the weather, like in the wintertime, doesn't always make for the easiest scenario. But then in between those difficult days, it's like some of the easiest layup fishing you could ever have.
Oh, leave it. Bump. Bump. It's a redfish, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is. I spent a little bit of time in the Bahamas area, kind of putzing around there. I spent a lot of time fishing different stuff in the West. Messed around in Florida a bit, Mexico. But I think that what you get in Texas is kind of a big mashup of all that. You know, you get tailing fish, schools of fish. You know, there's aspects of all those different fisheries that you find here. And I think that makes it a really interesting fishing scenario. That's been a big draw for me. You can kind of find whatever you're really looking for all in one little area. This is a solid Texas redfish. You know, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Saw the fly, came right over to it and ate it.
blowing across the bay, but the wind stacks up the bait and the game fish take advantage. And so do we. Bay Flats Lodge sits on the fringe of the wild. The Aransas National Wildlife Refuge is the neighboring 70,000-acre preserve with nearly 400 species of birds, deer, hogs, and other critters. San Antonio and Espiritu Santo Bays fill the gap between the Texas mainland and Matagorda Island. The bay's average depth is 4 feet, with the backwaters shrinking to less than a foot.
You know, you can pull for redfish and you just never know what you come across. Your day is endless. The only fighting thing here would be your tides. You know, when you have no water in the marsh and pretty much gotta come up with a whole new game plan.
Okay, he kicked, he's going right now. You can hit that one going right. Watch behind you though. Yeah, 9 o'clock, about 30 feet. Going that dark spot, swimming right. Bump it quick. I don't know if he turned.
So this is pretty much like the fish that we try to typically catch. I'd say it's pretty solid fish for a day, you know? Nice.
Cold fronts, even the mild ones, challenge an angler's best-laid plans. Redfish will concentrate in deeper, warmer holes. Later in the day, the reds move into shallower waters warmed by the sun, allowing anglers to sight fish.
You know, you see them 80, 90 feet away. You see them doing stuff, like an active fish, there's a fish up there. Sometimes we see fish like 15 feet, 10. They don't even look close enough, like I don't see it, like it's closer. Ideally, we see it further up, and then we can work to it and get them all set up. But like, I think when someone gets up there and they see a tailing, it's kind of like a little bit of buck fever. You know, you can get a little shit like, oh, like it's coming, like as soon as you get close enough. And I think that's like the ideal, or like a pod of tailors.
Oh, he's on it. There it is. Nice.
Ooh, good eye, Dar.
Good work, man.
I thought that second cast would have done it. But
You just have to spook him first and then get the cast.
a little.
Teach me the ways, Kimosabi.
That's the one thing about Texas is like when the water all blows out, it'll stay blown out until we get some other type of event like a hard south wind. So when these fronts come through blowing from the north, they blow water out at just a really rapid rate. And sometimes it beats the incoming tide even. It'll just keep falling right through the incoming. That kind of keeps us out of deep marsh. We got to get a little creative and fish some of the stuff where there is enough water, but where there's plenty of drains. Try to meet them in the middle.
Got it. Yep.
Oh, we've got a live one.
We got a live one, boys.
That's like a fish taco right there.
Yeah, it is.
What will our final day bring? No one knows. Just how we like it.
Every day is different. You're never going out there and seeing the same thing. And some of those rough days, they make the good ones really good.
We've come to Seadrift, Texas in the dead of winter for one species and one species only. Most South Texas winters are fairly warm, mostly in the 70s, sometimes in the 80s. But the weather is unpredictable. Luckily, the cold fronts are like good dinner guests. They move in and out quickly and don't overstay their welcome. Anglers can cast into pools during low tide or work muddy banks covered in witchfinger thicket. Redfish grow to hefty sizes in Texas's coastal bend thanks to the inflow of fresh water from the San Antonio and Guadalupe rivers and the bait that follows.
People ask, like, what's a good day? It's like, oh, a day on the water. Like, we're out here, you know, that's a good day. If you're always focusing like on catching, like a good fishing day, like numbers, your expectations could disappoint you. Let that be like your experience just out there.
He's on it. There it is. Nice. That was a tough fish to fish right there.
Just caught a little glimpse of him on that edge, man.
Good stuff, Tyler, good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got like a little third bar on his tail. I think on a day like this, get a fish.
Hey, any fish is a good fish on a day like this.
Man, it was just so cold and so windy. Man, it just makes it tough, you know. You get a handful of days or a week in a row, sunny, you don't have any wind. So then when you get those days where it's just blowing and you kind of got to do everything you possibly can, it's tough. Fly fishing's not an easy game to do.
Still just kind of going.
All right, here he is.
11 o'clock, yeah. I mean, still just hanging out. That's kind of the other thing makes me think it might be. That's perfect. Just low and slow.
You ate it? There it is. Here you go.
Where you bringing it?
I'll drag him over here. Evil eye. Just a previous injury, as you can tell. Obviously, he still sees good enough to hit some lures, so. There he goes.
On the Bay Flats dinner menu, fried quail legs and double-boned center-cut pork chops.
This has been like the best year of my life because I've got to be on the water so much. Getting to go full time with it. So now like on my off days, I'm not having to work a second job. I'm getting to go do more exploring, do more scouting and fishing. If it's a fishable day and it's my day off, usually somebody wants to get out and fish. And that's the whole reason I got into guiding, so I can go fish more.
Well, I guess we don't need the fancy ending I was gonna add. Looks like you took my job, Tyler. Well done.